This is a short video that will introduce you to a website that our school can use called RCClasses.com. First, you're going to open up a Mozilla web browser, and you'll type in RCClasses.com. And this is the welcome page, a nice clean logo. The RC stands for Resource Center, and then classes.com. So it's the Resource Center Classes Online. And you just click the enter button with your mouse to enter. Okay, now you're going to need to log in. The login is in the top right hand corner. We'll just click that. I have my username saved already here, so I can just click login. Okay, now for demonstration purposes, I'm going to go in here and log in as a teacher so you can see what a teacher will see. Okay, so when a teacher logs in, this is what they'll see. Right off the bat, you'll see the logo in the top left. You'll see who you're logged in as. There's a calendar, no messages waiting. This is if someone else is logged in at the same time. They can see who else is logged in and they can send you a message and that'll appear there. It's just a nice feature you can use with your students or other teachers. Okay, and in the middle, this is where most of the action happens. It's the course categories. Right now, the teachers just see student courses. And the ones in blue are courses that are complete and they're ready for students. The courses that appear in gray are not open for enrollment, so students may not enroll in those. So to take a look at a course, you just click on it. And it's organized in a linear fashion from top to bottom. At the top you have the course text as it appears in Report Writer, and some directions. So for each module you download and complete the credit packet, and it gives the students instructions to write their name, the course title, and the credit number on their homework. And then instructions on how to take the test. Now you'll notice there's test passwords here. It's grayed out, which means that the teachers can access that, but when students log in, they won't see this at all. It'll be hidden from them. They don't have access to the passwords. To take a look at what that looks like, here's the different credits and the passwords. Now these can be changed. The current passwords will be updated on here though. So for credit 1, the password is Gary. Okay, to look at a test, you simply click on the test. And all the tests are set up so that only 2 attempts are allowed. And the grading method, the highest grade is kept. So to preview it, it has a preview button here because I'm logged in as a teacher. A student would actually have a different button here that says attempt the quiz. Okay, this quiz is limited to 2 attempts. You are about to start a new attempt. Do you wish to proceed? Yes. And then it'll prompt you for the password. And the password was Gary, so I'll type that in. Okay, as the test is loading, you'll notice that these are the same tests that we're using at our local campuses or resource centers. All that happened here was the tests were put online. But the tests will still be administered at the local campus. To take the test, all you do, the student is just going to click on the correct answers. I'm just guessing on these. I have no idea if these are correct or not. Okay, when the student's done with the test, at the bottom, they will submit all and finish. So if I click that, it says you are about to close this attempt. Once you close the attempt, you will no longer be able to change your answers. So it just warns the student that this is final. Okay, and then it grades it. So I got a 1 point out of 10. There's 20 questions for the test, so that means I got 2 questions out of 20 correct. It tells me I only took 1 minute 32 seconds, and I got 2 out of 20. So that's an example of a test. And to check a test, on the left-hand side, there's a quizzes button. So you just click on quizzes. It shows a list of all the tests, and then it shows a list of all the attempts. So if I want to check a student's grade, I can just click on the attempts next to that test. And it will show me the list of students and their attempts. Now this student took the test twice. The first time they didn't pass. They got a 5.5. They need a 6, which is 60%. And then the second time they got an 85%. And these numbers off to the right here tell you how many points they got on each question out of how many points. So they got a 0.5 out of 0.5 on question 1. Let's find one that they missed. Okay, number 14, they got a 0 out of 0.5. And since these tests are 20 questions for this course, each question's worth 0.5 points. And it tells you how long the student took. If you want to open up the actual test to see which questions they missed in more detail, just click on the test you want to look at. So for Vinny, I'll click on the 8.5 or the 85% test, and it'll pull up that test. And it'll show you each question, what they answered, whether or not it was correct. And then question 14 they missed. So it'll show you what the student answered. It'll highlight the correct answer, and it'll show you that it's incorrect. And this can be used as a good teaching tool. If you want to go back over the test with a student, you can see what they answered. So that student answered D, but the correct answer. Okay, so that's how you check the test score. So back to the algebra course. The student, for compliance purposes, is going to fill out a bubble sheet as they're taking the test on the computer. And this is what's going to be turned into the teacher, and also what's going to be in the student folder. So you print one of these out, you give it to the student to fill in as they're taking the test on the computer. Then after the test, you look up their score and just write it in. And it's set up the same way with all the courses. The students cannot access the tests without the correct password, and the passwords can be changed periodically just in case they get leaked. But when the student can log into this site from another computer from home, and they'll be able to access their homework assignment and the packets. So for instance, credit 1 packet, they can click on that at home and see their assignments. They can either print this out or do their work on separate paper. But it just makes it a little more convenient, and it can potentially save paper by allowing them access to the homework packets and homework assignments from home. For a teacher to create a student, give a student a username and login, the teacher will simply click on the users, accounts, and then add a new user. At this point, You just type in a username. You can give them a password. If you want to give them an easy password first off and then force a password change, that's a good idea because it'll let the student actually pick their own password. So the first time they log in, they'll use the password you give them, but then it'll actually force them to change their password to a new password. Now each user needs an email address, so you'll type that in. Now this is one that I just made up, so I'm going to put that this email address is disabled. Typically, if you have the student's email address, you can have it enabled, and that'll allow teachers to send messages to students directly from RC Classes. Any of these things that have asterisks are required. Okay, description, I'll just put that this is a student, and then update profile. At this point, teachers will see an access denied, but the user will be added to the system. They can just ignore this and hit continue. Okay, now the student has been added to the system, so if the teacher wants to add them to a course, they just go into the course. So for example, English 9, they will assign roles. They'll assign that student as a student, so they'll click on student. And then they can search for the student. So this student was called sample student, so I can just search for sample. And there's one result. So you just click on the name, click add, and now they're added to the class. And at the bottom, assign roles in course English 9. And now your student shows up in the list of students for that course. And that's all there is to it. When the student's finished with the course, the teacher can go back into assign roles, click on student, click on their student, and remove. And that's all there is to it. Okay, I think that gives you a good brief understanding of what this course is about. It's mainly used for test administration and also to give access for students to their assignments at home. There's a lot more capabilities to this site. You can add interactive lessons or videos, but for the meantime, it's a great tool to use to automatically grade the tests. That's about it. Thank you for watching.